Welcome back to Auntie A's Kitchen, and in today's video, another British classic, the humble but packed with flavour Cornish Pasty. These are delicious shortcrust pastry pockets filled with beef and vegetables, and in today's video I'm not only going to show you how to make an original one, but also one that's half savoury and half sweet. So thanks for watching, let's get cooking. Making shortcrust pastry is really simple to make and great to use for all sorts of pies. You can also make the pastry ahead of time. I usually make the pastry in the morning and then leave it in the fridge to chill until I'm ready to use it in the afternoon. When making shortcrust pastry, I follow the general rule of half fat to flour ratio. So into a bowl, measure out your flour and butter. You can cube your butter, or as I'm doing today, grate it. Add a generous pinch of salt and then just roughly mix this all in together. For the perfect shortcrust pastry, you want to handle this as little as possible so that the butter doesn't melt and you end up with a wonderful light and crispy and crumbly pastry. And as always, I'll put a list of the ingredients and the measurements that I'm using today in the description below. But typically when I'm making shortcrust pastry, I don't measure out the water, I just add as much as needed. So into a jug, place some cold water, then add this in stages to your pastry just until it starts to come together with a spoon. At this stage, you can use your hand to bring everything together and form it into a dish shape, as this will make it easier to roll out later. Then wrap it up and place it in your fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes or until you're ready to use it. Traditionally, skirt steak is used in a Cornish pasty, and if you can't get hold of this, then I personally like to use a steak with some marbling and just cut off, as you can see me doing here, any excess fat. You don't want to use a lean steak because otherwise your Cornish pasty will be dry inside. Then just cube up your meat into mouth-sized pieces and set it aside for later. There are only a few ingredients inside of a Cornish pasty, but these ingredients work really well together. So for your onion, I recommend cutting it up into small pieces, and this will allow you to be able to scatter this for flavour inside of your pasty. Next, you're going to want to cut up some Swede, or otherwise known as rutabaga, but I can't find these where I live in South Korea, so today I'm using some German turnip, which is very similar but white in colour instead of the more familiar light orange colour that we would usually use in the UK. And just like we've done with the other ingredients, you're going to want to cut these up into small size cubes. A quick tip to stop your potatoes from going brown is to cut them up last and to place them into some water until you're ready to use them. My grandmother would always cut the potatoes straight into the pasty, but I like to prepare all of the ingredients beforehand. You can dice them or slice them, whatever is your preference. Once all of your ingredients are prepped, you can get on with rolling out your shortcrust pastry. Start by getting your oven preheating and lightly cover a baking tray with some flour and then set this aside. Next, get your cold pastry that we prepared earlier out of your fridge and on a floured board start to roll it out. Roll your pastry out until you have a couple of millimeters of thickness so that it can hold all the vegetables and meat inside without breaking. Use an average sized dinner plate about 23 centimeters in diameter. You will see in the video I cut it a little bit wider, and you're going to want to do this too so that you have lots of space so that you can crimp the edges and seal in all of the juices, adding more flavour to your pasty. And if you follow this recipe, you'll be able to make 2 pasties and have some extra pastry at the end to decorate if you'd like to. Another tip my grandmother taught me is to place a rolling pin halfway underneath your pastry, and this will stop you from overfilling your pasty. For the perfect pasty, I recommend filling half of your ingredients first, making sure to spread them out evenly. Some meat, onions, swede and potatoes. Season with some salt and pepper, and then place a few knobs of butter on top, as well as a light sprinkling of flour, which is going to help thicken up all the juices inside of your pasty. Then you're going to repeat and place another level of meat, onions, swede and potatoes into your pasty. Cornish pasties are iconic British comfort food, and they really are the perfect portable meal in one. And I believe Cornish miners would take them into the mines because they would not only stay warm for hours, but they could be eaten for lunch and easily heated up over a lamp or a small flame. And the thick, crimped edge, which was strong, would give the miners something to hold on to without getting their dirty hands on the pocket of delicious food. Some housewives would make half savoury and half sweet pasties, as I will show you an example of in the second part of this video. Once you have filled your pasty, wet your finger and run around the edge of your pastry alongside all of the ingredients, and this is going to help stick the pastry together. Then fold the pastry over, forming a pocket, and then squeeze the edges gently together. Next, I'll show you 2 simple ways to crimp or fold the edges of your pastry, sealing in all of the ingredients. Start by folding in the corner, then place your forefinger onto the pastry and fold the pastry over it. Repeat this until you get all the way around, and then make sure to tuck that final corner into itself. Once you've made your first pasty, place it onto your floured oven tray, and then you can get on with making your second. Some of the miners would have their initials on their pasty, so keeping with this tradition we will do that today using up the spare pastry. We will cut out an O for original and an H for half and half, which is the pasty that we're going to be making in this second part of the video. Making a savoury and sweet pasty is not only fun to make but also to eat. You have your main meal and dessert all in one pasty. Use a piece of scrap pastry in the shape of half a circle and with some water stick it down onto your pastry about halfway. Then, just as we did when making the original pasty in the first part of the video, fill up half with meat, onion, swede and potato. Don't forget to season halfway with salt and pepper, add some butter and flour and then continue filling with more ingredients. Once your savoury side is finished, fold back the pastry divider, and on the sweet side we're going to make a simple apple pie. You can either place all of your ingredients into a bowl, mix it up and then put it into your pasty, or for simplicity, as I'm doing today, just put it straight in. So you're going to cut up about half an apple into small pieces, add a splash of lemon, then add a few raisins, sprinkle some cinnamon, and an optional extra is to add some allspice, but if you don't have any, that's okay. Then a generous sprinkling of granulated sugar, some flour, butter, and top this off with a few more apple pieces. Make sure the divider surrounds your apple pie, as you don't want the two flavours, sweet and savoury, to mix. Then all that's left to do is to wet the edges, then fold the pastry over so that you can seal the edges. On this second Cornish pasty I will show you a different and my personal favourite way to crimp the edges. In a similar way, fold the pastry around your thumb and don't forget to fold in the last corner piece. Beat up an egg, then brush your Cornish pasties. You can decorate them with initials, shapes, just have fun being creative. Place your decoration on top and don't forget to also give this a brush with some egg wash. Finally, with a knife, cut 2 holes to allow the steam to escape. I forgot to do this with the pasties I'm showing you today, so halfway I quickly pull them out the oven and cut 2 holes. Place them into your preheated oven 190°C for about 10 minutes, then turn the temperature down to 180°C and let them keep cooking for about 35 minutes until golden brown. Let them rest on a wire rack for about 10 minutes before then cutting into them and eating them. So here we have 2 delicious Cornish pasties, one original with crispy flaky pastry and inside tender juicy meat with a mix of vegetables, and then a half savoury and half sweet pasty that's the perfect treat to take on a picnic. I might be biased, but I just love British food, so leave a comment below and let me know what you like eating. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great week. God bless.